Did you know that you can inoculate large diameter logs with shiitake without using the standard drill and fill inoculation method? This is called the Totem method. While this style is typically used for oyster mushrooms or lion's mane mushrooms, it can be used with other varieties, including shiitake. This method has several pros. First, this is a great way to use up larger diameter logs that might not be manageable for the drilling and filling method. It also doesn't require the investment of inoculation tools or wax. Oftentimes, this is also started indoors, allowing you to inoculate your logs when the temperatures are still too cold for outdoor inoculation. Here's how you do it. The first step is to select your logs. For shiitake, you will want to use a hardwood species, such as an oak, sugar maple, or ironwood. Make sure you're using healthy green-cut wood from a tree in its dormant state. If that last sentence lost you, I would highly recommend watching our video on tree dormancy and why it's important. The video is linked in the video description below. After felling, let your logs rest for at least 2 weeks prior to cutting the larger logs up into the smaller pieces that you'll need. This allows time for the tree's antifungal defense system to die back, but will help the wood retain its moisture. After the 2 weeks have passed, cut the logs into rounds anywhere from 8 inches to 12 inches in diameter and 6 to 8 inches in length. While cutting, it's helpful to score the logs so that you know how they fit back together. This will keep everything from toppling over once built. It's also helpful to cut a tree cookie to use as a topper for your totem so that the spawn can help retain moisture. For each totem, you will need a large bag, rubber bands, and shiitake sawdust spawn. If you're doing this for the first time, we recommend using a wide range variety such as Beltane, Double Jewel, West Wind, WR46, or Number 1 Sun, as they will produce mushrooms the fastest. One thing to keep in mind with this method is that it does take longer for your logs to produce mushrooms than it does on average with the drill and fill method. So using a wide range strain will help keep that timeline from being too long. Grab your bag. A bag serves as a replacement for wax and keeps the moisture trapped around the logs. You can use a leaf litter bag or other paper bag if your daytime highs are consistently above 45 degrees and you're doing this method outside and you're receiving regular rainfall. But if you're starting the process inside, use a plastic bag to prevent water loss. Start by placing a layer of spawn at the bottom of the bag. Aim for a layer about 1/4 inch thick and as wide as the diameter of the log. Place your first log section on top of the spawn. Repeat with a second layer of spawn, patting it down to get rid of any obvious airspace. Follow with your second section of log. If you scored your logs, make sure to line up your score marks to keep your totem as stable as possible. At this point, you can either opt for a third layer or you can top off your logs. The amount of log sections you're able to use will depend on 1, how large your bag is, and 2, how good your stacking skills are. In general, we recommend no taller than hip height. Whether you use 2 sections or 3 sections of wood, your final step will be the same. Place your final layer of spawn over the top of your final log section. Cover this with your tree cookie to lock in moisture. Alternatively, you can use foil to keep the top layer of spawn from drying out. Tie the bag up and over the top of the log. This bag creates an ideal humid space for the log to colonize. Make sure to tie it loosely, or to loosely wrap a rubber band, keeping enough airspace to allow the mycelium to breathe. Once planted, the shiitake mushroom will grow from the spawn layers into the ends of the logs. Keep the totems bagged and stored in an area between 60 degrees and 75 degrees to allow growth. Some temperature fluctuation below this range is okay, but higher temperatures are dangerous as thermal death within the bag occurs at over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Incubation can be done indoors any time of the year or outdoors in a sheltered location during the growing season. Remember, black plastic bags heat up quickly, so be sure to find a shaded location if you choose to incubate your totems outside. Shiitake totems typically require at least 6 months to colonize before they can be removed from their bags. Once your shiitake totems are placed outside, be sure to select a shady area where they can receive rainfall. The more protected from the sun and the wind, the better, as mushrooms require high humidity to develop. Predicting when totems will fruit is difficult. Typically, first fruiting occurs 12 or more months after planting, although it can take up to 24 depending on the size of your totem. Shiitake mushrooms develop spontaneously when conditions are right, and especially after a heavy rainfall or change in temperature. Happy growing!